business and hit submit. But I don't know exactly what link he used or where he went to do that.
Keith, Paul, do you have any particular knowledge?
I do not.
I looked into it briefly just to help a friend. It wasn't, I think we're going to see more people take advantage of it in the next couple of weeks. I think when, things were first happening, everybody was optimistic they weren't going to need it. But certainly many businesses that are still keeping people employed would be foolish not to take advantage of it. So I think, back to your first point, Peter, I don't think it can hurt to just sort of remind people, maybe not just, post the details, but just sort of let them know that if they are in business now and they are doing a required service, then there's no reason for them to not take advantage of this. Like, it'd be good business practice. I guess that's my thoughts on it. I mean, the few folks I know that are still working, including you, Jason, thank you so much for you guys being there. That's amazing. I know you're not a small business, but there's a lot of folks that are still going out there every day. And for the small businesses, it's a great benefit for them. I don't know why they wouldn't take advantage of this.
I mean, I agree with.
Go ahead, Jason.
No, I'm just saying I agree with Keith. Like if you read anything on any news channel or any article about it, any small business would be foolish to not apply and see. What can it hurt to see what's out there? I think what some people may run into trouble with is when people were told they had to close, they automatically laid people off. And I don't know what kind of stipulations will be in it. If you reinstate your employees, can you get it? If you do back pay, can you get it? I think a lot of people reacted very quickly, and their only answer they had was lay their employees off and have them file for unemployment.
Right.
So
Keith,
I'm gonna probably lose. Sorry, I'm relatively close to home, and we all know how cell reception is in Berlin.
Lancaster Road especially.
So if I lose you guys, I'll call right back in.
We'll be here.
Thanks.
Keith, do you have any interest in both developing a post and posting it on Facebook Connect?
I mean, you know that I'm on a Facebook. I don't even post to my own business, and I do have to go on there because I have to make sure. There's some ways that I only get new business is to stay in certain groups. But no, I want to keep my Facebook silence, especially during these times. But I know that you're active on there. Is it something that you're not comfortable doing yourself? Or?
No, I'm totally comfortable. I just don't want another to do. Sorry. But if you want to, do you feel like drafting something for me?
Sure. I mean, I don't actually feel like I know. I can spend some time to read about it. I don't
either. That's part of the problem. I mean,
right.
We want to turn something that we don't know about into something succinct that we can share with others in the lowest common denominator format.
Yeah. One of the things that maybe, so Peter, maybe for Facebook, I mean, this would probably be a whole separate conversation I'd love to have with you, but I know some of the other boards have kind of a separate Facebook page. Conservation has a conservation page.
We have one.
Do we, for EDC?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so in that sense, I wouldn't mind posting under the EDC as long as I'm not associated with it personally.
But nobody looks at it. That's the problem. That's why if you go to the EDC Facebook page, you'll see a lot of neat content I've been feeding it about business stuff that's going on in the region. And the number of likes and views and shares are abysmal. And I think that's probably true for the other boards. I've never
definitely. But what they do is, like conservation will post onto the Berlin Connect one, and then that'll get more eyeballs on there.
I'm okay with either one, but I think the sentiment is that we should share. We're supposedly the more skilled ones in town about this sort of subject, so we should share.
Yeah. No, I don't think it could hurt. I think it'd be good to bring awareness to what we do as well as, you know, it might actually help, even if it helps one business.
It'll help me.
Yeah.
It should help you. I'm looking at a text from Matt. He's working on an SBA loan throughout Riverbridge. What does throughout mean? Is that what you meant?
He's gonna write it down again.
You should send a text or something.
Yeah, he's texting me. That's why.
Actually, I think that is the text function of the,
There is a chat function.
yeah, the chat.
Matt, there's a chat function at the bottom center. Can you use that? Then everybody can see your text. He's thinking.
There it
I see
is.
smoke emerging from your head, Matt. Is a smoke detector going off, Matt? So in the meantime, while Matt's doing his thing, Keith, do you want to draft something from me, or would you prefer not to get involved, or are you too jammed up? If not, I'll do it.
I'll send you a draft. If it's not going to be much, it's just more of, hey, people be aware of this, but I'll.
Whatever, just something that's brain dead, and I'll learn from it as well.
Okay.
All right. And I would reference or use the content from those two Mass Office of Business Development resources, one of which has got the link in the agenda. The other one was an email. Okay. Privacy form. I forgot to do this last time, maybe even the time before, but there's some privacy form that all of us need to sign. And I don't use DocuSign, so I don't have a subscription to DocuSign, I should say. So either I scan it, sign it and scan it, you guys sign it and scan it. What's your fancy, or we wait?
What do you mean we wait, Peter? Wait till we're convened in person and sign it in person?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we just wait unless there's some urgency to do it.
Just nobody's bothered me with it, but I think it's incumbent upon us to
So we wait.
plan. Okay. If I get ambitious, I'll share it. I got to find it. So this whole epidemic has made me think, I wonder if we should be a proponent of drive-throughs. Now, I realize the epidemic will be gone in a month or 2 months and back, and maybe not back, but is it something we should think twice about, given the lack of interest in the town?
So given, well, we won't be having a normal town meeting, right? I don't think that's going to
Well,
happen.
the town meeting's going to be put off. There won't be a virtual town meeting. It's put off by a
Right.
month at least right now.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
And
So
the
the real
first town
question,
meeting,
Peter-
sorry to interrupt. The first town meeting is going to have critical stuff only, and then there'll be a special for the mop-up later.
So the real question would be, how do you pose this question to the town? Does the town feel differently now about it than it has in the past? I mean, I don't know. How do we find that information? I mean, I don't know. I haven't thought enough about it. It's a great question. I don't know how I feel about it. I know the town has not wanted drive-throughs in the past. They've made that very clear. But have they changed their minds? Would they prefer to have more drive-through options right now, given that they can't go out and eat? So I think it's a great question. I don't know the answer to it.
So my two reactions are, what do we think, for starters? And I could post it on Facebook and ask the question.
Oh, I haven't used it. I will say I'm neutral. I don't care. I don't really wasn't strongly opposed or in favor before, and I am again not now. I would defer to what the town's wishes are.
Yeah, I don't know what the concerns are. I know that, I think litter goes up with drive-throughs. What are we talking about as far as drive-throughs? Just restaurants, or?
Even the Shell station has a built-in drive-through that's not
For Dunkin' Donuts. For Dunkin'
right.
Donuts, right? Yeah.
So coffee, donuts, sandwiches,
Yeah.
that is built but not usable because it's not permitted.
Yeah, I don't know enough what the opposition would say about it. I don't personally.
I think it's litter and traffic. Does that sound right, Paul?
That sounds right, particularly the litter.
So there's 5, Matt's messaging me that there's 5 businesses. Do I have that right? Give me a thumbs up. 5 businesses within the Shell station that would benefit from the drive-through. Do I have that right? No, I have that wrong. I can't read lips. Do you think I'm that skilled?
So
Why-
Matt,
why
there's a
does-
chat.
There's a
function.
chat. Can you see my chat, Kevin? I mean, Keith?
Yeah, I can see it.
Right? Yeah.
If you roll your mouse over the bottom part of the window, you'll see some icons, and chat is the third one from the right.
Can you see that, Matt? Give us a thumbs up if you can see what Keith just mentioned.
Hang on. Can you let me share?
Yeah, of course.
Matt, can you? But see, now it disappears. It doesn't help. Because I was going to try to show Matt where to go look for. Let me see what screen I should share. Let me stop. Let me try to share again. And why does it do that when I share desktop one? It
You should have
pops
a
it over to the
selection.
side.
A selection to pick from, Paul.
I know, and it's not. I'm picking something, and it's not picking the right thing, and I don't know why. All right, I can do what I wanted to do.
Let me try. I think I
Yeah.
can.
Matt, can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up.
Hey, Matt, can you see the screen
There you
here?
go.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Okay, so we've got reactions and chat. This is the one here that you want to do. But also make sure your mute's not on. But if you chat here, you'll have a window on the right-hand side that we can see, and it'll be recorded, okay?
And you can type into it.
Yep.
Just need to type on the bottom. Keith, you might want to show him where you are. He'll hopefully figure it out. Yep.
Are you not able to chat? Text me and tell me why you're not able to chat, Matt.
Right here, yes. Okay. Can you
There it
see
is.
me now?
Can
Right
you
there.
hear
We
me
can
now?
hear you. Oh, we can hear you on the
I
iPhone.
got you on iPhone. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you all.
Welcome.
That's my wife's work. She's
Somebody's
smart.
got to be the brains.
Yeah, it's all good. All right. So, um,
So now you've got to turn the volume down on the original source, or turn it off. Disconnect. I can
I'm
disconnect.
disconnected.
Disconnect from the laptop. There you go.
There you go. All right, gentlemen. Thank you for dealing with my incompetence on these matters. Can you hear me now?
Hear you
just if
great.
could set the phone
All right,
down
good.
so it's steady and not making us seasick. That'd be great.
All right, it's steady now.
Beautiful.
All right. Concerning SBA loans, all the different individual businesses, of which Riverbridge owns some of them, are applying for SBA loans of different types. We're getting counsel from different groups, including our accountants. People like the Growing Room are working independently. The hotel, of which we're a partner, are working independently. The cafe is working independently. We don't really involve ourselves too much with the RIA. They're just kind of off by themselves. I'm sure they're just fine.
That's a Shell station.
That's the Shell station. They're off by themselves. We're working with all our banks, and we're working with the SBA government loans, the small parts for keeping people employed, which is why we've kept the cafe and liquor store open, to the larger loans involving, serious money. Our goal here is, although this virus will crush Riverbridge, without help, is that help will come and we will pay back the help. So that's our goal, and that's how we're pushing forward. As you guys can well imagine, the hotel, the daycare, the apartments are now well delayed. Although they're still building the apartments miraculously, nobody's going to be moving into them. We were supposed to have our first tenants moving in next month in April. That will probably be delayed 4 months. And we were in negotiations on the 4 months, on the 4 acres in front of where the old Reese package store was. And those conversations have, of course, come to a grinding halt. So we're going to hunker down. We're going to try to be smart with everything. Riverbridge has been a 10-year project that's taken a long time to build out because of the water and sewer system we had to build. But my brother and I are equally and just as determined today as we were 3 weeks ago to make sure that Riverbridge is something the Sennies are proud of and that the town is equally proud of when we're all finished.
Hey, Matt, just a quick question then on the 4 acres. We had a question about the minutes from the last time when we had a discrepancy of whether it's 30,000 that you put feet of retail that you could do there or 5,000.
No, there's 5,000 in front of the liquor store. That's a separate, in front of the hotel. That's a separate building.
Okay.
That's on the west side of the property. Where the
Yep.
Reese package store is, by right, we can build around 30,000. We'll probably only build 20,000
Okay.
parking.
So I'm going to enter 30,000 into the minutes because you had it right, Paul, yes?
Yeah, that's right. That's why I wrote it down. Yep.
Yep.
Up to 30.
Up
I
to
would say
30.
up to 30. Yeah.
Yep, I think that's good.
All right, good.
As
So,
far as drive-throughs, I don't think the town's going to pay much attention. They're going to see it as an insignificant matter. As much as I need 2 drive-throughs very badly, with everything else going on, I don't think you can get anybody's attention now. And that's whether we have the town meetings in May, June, or July. I just don't think we can get people to focus on something that they will see as trivial, with all the other crises brewing throughout the community, lost tax revenues and such. I don't think they're going to be that they're going to be that responsive. I do think they will come around. It would be great if we had them today, obviously. I think it's small. I think it's small potatoes today.
So Matt, can you? Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry,
Can
go
I
ahead,
jump in?
please.
Matt, can you help me understand? Aside from obviously the current situation where a drive-through would be very beneficial, as a business owner, what are the benefits for you? Does that increase foot traffic or?
Yes, we would get statistically, we would get a 30% bump in total gross sales, both at Dunkin' Donuts and at the Village Cafe. More importantly, less people would be parking their cars and would be driving through. To give you an example, we drop off when we're in business 150 moms or dads every morning, and we don't get any of that coffee business. And that's just a shame. That's just the reality. And when 204 apartment owners are living there, we will not get a tremendous amount of their coffee business. They literally will have just gotten in a car and they will drive themselves to the first drive-through they can find if they are the type of people that want a cup of coffee while they're driving into work. So I do think we'll win that argument long term. I think the town's left a tremendous amount of tax dollars on the table. And, you know, I think there was also talk about meeting your neighbors is one of the good reasons for not having drive-throughs. When we were talking about reasons, some people in town don't think drive-throughs are such a great idea. But
do you remember if there was any other? So has this come up on town meeting before?
Right, there might be I think there'll be a special town board meeting next December, a winter meeting that'll be just how do we survive? Where are we? What do we want to do in this community? It could be about the schools. It could be about the protective equipment. It could be about lost tax revenues. But I think there'll be a winter town meeting. Someone will ask for it. And that's when I think you can ask for drive-throughs or anything you want. But I don't think you're going to get much done on peripheral items at this spring town meeting. That's just how I think it's going to play out.
So Matt, do you recommend we leave the drive-through alone now? If the 3 or 4 of us decided we wanted to promote the drive-through, would you be opposed to that? No.
I'd love it. I just think we have a better chance of doing it 6 months from now, 8 months from now, than we do this May, June, or July.
What about an emergency action now just to help out in the current circumstances, having a drive-through so people don't have to walk into the building?
Actually, that's a brilliant point. What would it take for you to open the drive-through physically, construction-wise?
Not a lot. It's actually, in our case, we've actually built it to accommodate a drive-through very quickly.
No, I understand that, but is it a day's worth of work, a week?
No, it's it's 4 days worth. It's 3 or 4 days worth of work, and we probably wouldn't even have to close down the cafe.
I don't see why we couldn't present this to the board and as an emergency action, maybe even just a temporary action until it can be voted on town meeting, whether it's May or December. Let's get it up and running or at least put it on their lap as something that could benefit the community as well as an entrepreneur in the community who's
Keith,
employing.
I think you're onto something, Keith.
Slow down. So here's the question. It's against the zoning. We would need a change in zoning to allow the drive-through. Is that something that you can do through emergency action, or do you need to go through the ZBA, or what?
My reaction to that, let me just jump in, Keith, sorry. My reaction is if the town declares a state of emergency, which I think they did for another reason, that may permit it, and that's just way beyond our pay grade, unless you know something more, Keith.
No, that would be
Yeah,
my guess.
no, Riverbridge might not want to fight that fight. We have mitigation and other issues that we have to deal with in the town that are kind of sensitive. I don't think we'd want to piss off a lot of people over this.
That's right.
Okay.
In other words, I got to pick my battles with 5 different boards in this community.
What's your biggest opposition, you think? You think conservation because of the litter, and what else?
It's a very funny thing. Almost everybody that you talk to will say, "Why don't you have a drive-through?" But when it's come time to vote, there've been enough old timers that just think it'll draw more people to the community, which it will, and that Riverbridge is big enough.
Matt, I mean, we're doing this for you. If you're not comfortable doing it, then we'll
No,
But we're also doing it for the town. We're not doing it just
with
for.
my brother. I think we got to let it lay for a while. I'd like to go with the board's blessing, guns a-blazing next winter to a special town meeting that I'm sure somebody else is going to call because the drive-through isn't a big enough issue. But there'll be other items on for a winter town meeting because a lot of things are going to get postponed this spring. All the peripheral stuff is probably going to get postponed till the winter time meeting, and that's when I'd like to go forward.
Let me ask this question. If the town permitted you to have the drive-through, let's just say for the next month, because the state of emergency is a month, would you be interested in that?
No, it'll still cost. It would cost me $10,000. It'll cost me $10,000 to blow out the window and do it right. I got to get a speakerphone put in.
Okay.
I'd spend $15,000.
Okay, so either permanent or not at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Hey, Matt, I saw the numbers that Peter had shared, that you shared with Peter, he shared with us. The liquor store, that surprised me. So the liquor store, I would have thought would actually be doing better right now. I know I'm spending more on liquor than I normally do.
Yes, you are, but you may be buying it more at BJ's because you're tripling up. You might be buying cases, just like that ammo got bought at Cabela's. There was a surge of people doubling and tripling down their weekly orders. But at the same time, if you're going to go, it's like buying cigarettes. You pay a little extra because it's on the way home. But when you have to buy 3 cases of beer or 2 cases of wine, you make a little effort and you drive up the hill to BJ's to get it. So we lost some of our regular customers who just went and spent a few $100s to take care of the house. So we're down now probably 30%. And for about 10 days first started, we were just a little bit above, but not a lot.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Berlin Auto, the gas station right at the bottom, Fred being the owner, some of you must know, his gasoline sales are down 75%.
So are Neria's.
Yeah,
I mean, Shell gas station, they own 200 stations, and their gas I'm sure their sales are down 60% across the board. And I'm sure our sales could even be down 70%. That's when this economy is moving, that's a very busy gas station. But, people just aren't getting off exit 290 right now at all.
Or even just going anywhere, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, they're probably off 70%.
All right, let's get back on track agenda-wise. So drive-through, we're dropping the idea for the time being. Yes?
That's correct.
Okay. You have nothing to say, Paul, Highland Commons-wise? I'm assuming Fit Factory? Nothing?
Nothing.
Anybody else know anything about Fit Factory?
Nope.
Okay. Jason, can you update us on anything IT-wise, website-wise?
I don't think Jason's back on yet.
He's on.
No, I'm here, guys.
Oh.
I just kept myself muted because my son's in the room. As far as IT wise, I really unfortunately don't have any updates. The week that all this started is the week that we were going to go down to the town and I was going to corner them and get my name attached to the town or whatever so that I could show up on the links. And the last 3 weeks have just been craziness, unfortunately. So I have not fulfilled much of my end of the bargain for this month.
Jason, I can't imagine anybody more busy than you right now.
And more
maybe
important.
You are a doctor, so you are very much excused.
I appreciate that.
I second that motion.
It's this is the first week that it actually feels like people have finally calmed down. It's just been a real whirlwind. 20 years in this business, I've never seen anything like it. Not that anybody has seen anything like this, but holy cow.
Do you guys have toilet paper yet?
We get some. We get it in every day. It just doesn't typically make it through the day.
How is
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Who is using all this toilet paper? I don't get it.
It's all
People did not
stock.
wipe their butts until this event took place.
Jason, though, I got to tell you how wonderful run your store is, even compared to, Market Basket or the other ones we went to. I love that the sanitizer's right out front. I love that you guys are controlled the inventory and just pretty much everything. Like, it's been wonderful.
And I totally agree with you, Keith. I absolutely second that. I was at Market Basket today, and it was my scariest experience in the last 2 weeks, I'd say, of going out at all. Wegmans is great, and Trader Joe's is pretty good too. I had one question for you, Jason, and this is again unrelated. But Wegmans, most everybody else is now not letting you bring in your own bags. Are you guys still letting people do that if they want to bag their own groceries through self-checkout, or have you eliminated bring your own bags as well?
No, the governor has eliminated that.
Son of a bitch.
So it's not a store choice.
Okay.
It was a state choice. The governor has eliminated reusable bags, and what they've also done is they've lifted the plastic bag bans
Yep.
for all the towns. So
Saw that, yeah.
so you're going to see a lot of stores using plastic bags in the interim to get through. Some of our stores made a decision to go to plastic, but it was more for efficiency and with staffing issues. But
I don't really care whether it's plastic or paper, really. I like the idea of when I was going to the Wegmans store, I'd bring my own bag, put my groceries in my own bag, and then go to checkout, and nobody else touches anything. And I feel much better about the whole deal.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that the week after Easter, 3 of our 6 stores in Massachusetts will have what we call as Wegmans Scan.
Cool.
Where,
Yeah, you don't have that yet. Yeah, I know that. I read about it. I have the app.
Yeah, so we're going to be rolling it out. They're expediting it, the launch, to get it into our stores, because clearly for a consumer who's concerned, you're the only one touching your food.
Right.
You're scanning it, you're bagging it, you don't have to worry about the cashier. From a business standpoint, I don't have to worry about staffing when it comes to the front end if I have 50% of my customers scanning their own groceries.
Right.
You know, I'd rather take the risk from a security standpoint of who's not going to be honest than worry about trying to get people in and out of the stores.
Right. Yep. That makes sense. Good. All right. Sorry for the sidetrack, but I again agree with Keith. I was very comfortable in the Wegmans store, much more so than I was in Market Basket today.
All right, super. So thanks, Jason. I assume that you didn't even dream of the sign issue, and Keith, did you perhaps think about the sign issue at all?
You're talking to Jason, I take it?
Well, both of you, the welcome sign concept and developing that.
Yeah, I mean, I started playing on Google Map to pick the specific locations, and I had reached out to that sign company, which they are not working right now either. And then I did not continue to push with any further information over the last few weeks. I still am happy to take the lead on that and get a formal proposal together for hopefully the next time that we get to meet in person.
All right. So
sounds great.
would it make sense for you and Keith to collaborate offline at some point, if Keith is still willing to help?
I'm happy to help. If I can make a
Yeah.
difference for you, sure.
Yeah, Keith, we can connect on that.
Peter,
So-
you had asked me to reach out to National Lumber and to the general store. I did reach out to the general store since all of my travel was canceled. I talked to Melissa. She mentioned something about going in front of the board to do outside seating, and that was shut down. I invited her to come to the meeting and tell us more. She said that she's talked to you extensively on it, but I invited her again anyways. She didn't want to give me her email, but she took mine down, but she hasn't written since. So,
So my reaction to that is I've invited her to meetings as well as her parents, and they have not attended. I'll give you her email address. I'm not sure why she would not give it to you, unless you.
I mean, I'm
think
very
it's
friendly with her.
wrong.
I think my take on it is she's just not interested in
And as far as outdoor seating, she's gone to the select board and they've turned her down. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, if I'm understanding that correctly, something about the water system or sewer system out front that she was given some reason why they couldn't do it, and I was just asking her to share that information with me. She hasn't done it yet anyways. This was a couple weeks before the world fell apart, but
So if you can extract from her, and I see her from time to time because I sell my honey there. If you can extract from her a complete story, can you reach out to me offline and tell me, and then you and I can collaborate on what the solution is? Because given the virus impact, I think she's gone from worse to worse. The store has, that is. And we need to do everything we can to help, or we will not have a general store.
Right. I mean, I have no way of getting in touch with her. I don't have her phone or email, and I'm not going to be going to the store myself anytime soon.
I can give you both if you want it. I'll give you both.
Sure, we can try that.
All right, I'll give you both, and then you can drill into it, and then we can collaborate. Does that work?
Yeah, it works. Good.
And National Lumber, what if anything came of that?
I didn't make it that far.
Do you want to still do that? I'll put that on the agenda for next time.
I'm not sure. Yeah, if you have, I'm not going knocking door to door. I'll tell you that. But if you have contact information of someone, then
National Lumber, I have nothing. Paul, do you by chance?
I do not.
I'm sure if you just call their main number, they'll
Okay.
willingly talk to you, especially if your phone call is to help them.
I'll give it a go.
All right. Okay, well, that's probably a good segue into economic downturn. I think it's incumbent upon us to at least talk about, if not make some recommendation, take some action, do something to consider the huge economic downturn and therefore the huge downturn in receipts for the town. I'm sure Riverbridge's, numbers are alone, forget about Solomon Pond or Highland Commons, gonna be painful to the town. And I wonder what brainstorming we can do to contribute to the town input.
I think the revenues from those three main sources, including ours, will be down a minimum of 70%. You can take a look and see what the three of us paid jointly last year. And that doesn't even include the boost they were going to get this year from the hotel. But, the cash registers aren't ringing. And you guys had a fairly high tax rate on all of these commercial businesses. And I think somebody at town hall has probably already done a calculation. I'd be surprised if Dennis Farabee and that group haven't done some calculations already based on data that's available for the county and know exactly how much money is not coming into the till for this community. Fortunately, we've come off of 5 years of a good economy, and we've all been paying a lot in taxes, and they brought themselves up to speed with better equipment, better things for the schools, the roads, but they're going to have to stop spending money.
So everyone, Keith, Paul, Jason, what should the Economic Development Committee do, if anything, about this problem? What input should we be giving the select board, if anything? What action should we be taking, if anything?
I like Matt's suggestion. Stop spending money. That's not funny.
But
That's
we
what
don't
they should
spend
do.
money. Paul, the EDC does not spend money. The
No, that
EDC
should be our
recommends stuff.
recommendation. We should be focusing on what we were talking about before, making sure small businesses can get access to money through loans and through MODB or MOBD and whatever else, so that they can stay in business and not go out of business. I like Matt. I don't think from the town's budget point of view, that's not my responsibility. Stop spending money. You don't have money, stop spending it.
Okay, should we have a joint appearance at the next FinCom meeting to share our position? Especially given how easy it is with Zoom. Would you like that?
I don't know that we need to. I don't feel obligated. I feel like I would like to help small businesses to the extent we can. I don't know that town finances are what I'm not about town finances here.
But you were
What are we
saying we
gonna
should
do?
spend less money. How do you want to accomplish getting that message across? How do you propose that?
I think they have. Peter, I'm not on your board, and I can't be because I'm just too big a, I'm the reason, I don't want to look like I'm currying favors, but I think the town already knows it.
Yeah.
I don't think they know it enough. I sat in on 1 or 2 FinCom meetings and they were discussing no increases in budget. Now they're down to perhaps less, but not 20% less or 50% less by a small margin. I don't think the message is that clear.
I think casual conversations are great, but they're going to figure it out all by themselves.
Yeah.
That's kind of their thing. And they're going to be able to look at every other little community around the area, and they're going to understand the money just isn't coming in. The residential money should come in. They're even going to have a little trouble collecting some residential money. People will have trouble paying their taxes if they've lost their jobs.
Agreed. So Jason, Paul, and Keith, what, if anything, should we be saying or taking action on besides helping small business, which I think there's no dispute there, regarding this economic downturn? Paul's response was in part, spend less. How do you want to convey that message, or are we going to be mute on that and just deal with small business?
I mean, Jason, you want to go first? I don't feel that I'm in a position to vote even what we should advise. I feel like we should just provide the information. We could pass on what Matt has shared with us about his business and what we know about the other businesses, and let them, come to their own conclusions, as well as providing information regarding what the federal and state programs are out there for every size business. I think we should be a conduit for information and not, I don't feel like I have the understanding of what areas of the budget I would recommend that they cut. I mean, I think everybody understands the fundamentals here, that the money's not there. And so tough decisions are going to have to be made.
I agree. I'm not on the board, but as a business person, I just think you let them deal with they got their own stuff to deal with. I don't think they need much information from the outside, except for telling them how bad it will be for the small businesses of our community. But other than that, let them make their own decisions, draw their own conclusions.
How about this? How about we share our draft minutes of this meeting, which should be full of content, with the select board. I just forwarded them and tell them here's a draft of it, which has got some information. What do you guys think about that?
Why do you think there'll be lots of content?
Because we have a very skilled note taker.
Yeah, but I could edit whatever content I think is appropriate.
We count on you, Paul.
Hey, Peter, what
seriously.
do you have thoughts? It sounds like you're kind of fishing for a different answer. Do you have something that you would like to do? What's on your mind? You want to do?
Well, we're an advisory committee. We're supposed to advise. We make no decisions to speak of, and nothing we do is binding. But we're an advisory committee. So my question, which I already posed, was, what do you suggest we do advisory-wise, given this economic downturn? And the sentiment, which I don't disagree with, is stay away from recommending much budget-wise and help those that we can. That seems to be the sentiment I'm picking up. But given our mandate and our name, Economic Development Committee, we can't develop commerce if there's either we're doing a bad job, the town's doing a bad job, or there's no incentive to have commerce in this town. And having an economic downturn worsens that problem. Jason?
Does anybody know if what the governor has said that he's going to do to help the communities out?
I sat in on the selectmen's meeting and the finance committee's meeting, and it seems to be nebulous and unstated so far.
Well, ultimately, if the businesses aren't operating, then they're not paying tax. And if they're not paying tax, the town's not making any money. We're telling the town you should be cautious on what you spend because you're not going to get any revenue coming in. But if there's all this bailout available, and I know the governor has offered certain incentives. I don't know the details, but I would assume that there is going to be some sort of help for the communities also, not just the individual small business and the individual people who may get whatever part of the stimulus is coming to them. But I gotta assume the towns are gonna be entitled some sort of help.
But Jason, you can't believe that it's going to bring us to 100% that help, right?
Oh, certainly not. But I just,
If it brings us up 10 percentage points or 20 percentage points, and we have to make up 50 percentage points, I'm just making up numbers, we still have a big problem.
correct. And us advising the town, like, hey guys, make sure we're paying attention to our spending. You would think that's an obvious problem that they should be paying attention to. That I don't know if they need us telling them that they should pay attention to what they're spending.
Let me give you an example. They talked about no increased spending on the budget. And if there's not a town meeting, they'll do something like a phrase called 1/12. Whatever last year's budget was, they'd continue the next month. But then I said, well, maybe what you need to do is spend less, attempt to spend less than 100% of last year's budget, because you know that there's going to have to be increases. And one example was the transfer station's got to spend more money because recycle is now more expensive. Even so, the sticker cost is going to go up. The point is that some budgets will have to increase no matter what, because there's contractual obligations, or the transfer stations I gave as an example. And it seemed to be a little bit of a surprise what I had suggested. Maybe I'm way off base, but I didn't get the impression that how serious this was being taken as seriously as it should. And forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn, and I mean this for others, not just us who are on this.
Totally. I mean, I feel like
Oh.
people, there's a lot of things on people's mind right now. You know, obviously it's a historic economic downturn, but we're still in the middle of the health crisis too. So I feel like, you know, people are just processing what they can, and they're focusing on the health side of things, and waiting to see where the chips fall in terms of the economics. And no one really, at least no one in my world anticipated, you know, the 3.2 million unemployed, and it's probably going to be a lot higher than that in the next month, right? And so I feel like people are just sort of trying to keep up with what the changes are, never mind what the repercussions are.
Yeah, but what you're maybe missing, and probably not, is that this is budget season. They have got guns at their head to get budgets done, and they're going to delay the town meeting. They may delay the town election, and it's just crunch time in a normal circumstance. And with this epidemic, it's far from normal. So they're taking it seriously. I mean, FinCom's meeting regularly. They met last Saturday as an extra meeting because it's so messy. And the select board talked about it both last and this time. They're taking it seriously. They're not shirking their responsibilities.
So then that's good. That's it.
All right, so we're
And,
going to help small business, and that's that. Yes?
Yeah. I think that's appropriate.
Okay.
Or and keep doing what you're doing, Peter. I think it's great that you're going to these other board meetings, and I assume you're voicing your thoughts already. I mean, what more can we do? I think that's great that you're doing that. And eventually people will all get on the same page. We're not all on the same page right now. Not that suggests anybody's not doing their duties. It's just, I mean, look at the news. I mean, you know, we all have, I'm sure, family members that have different opinions on what's going on right now. So as a town, we just all got to get to the same page, and we're not there yet.
Okay, good enough. So that's it for that. Cabela's I talked about. River Bridge is right there. Chambers of Commerce. I'm just rambling. Our warrant article, in my opinion, will be put off to the special because it's not critical. Just my opinion. I don't know that factually. There's a security email that all of us received that I'm supposed to fill out as the chair. I still haven't done it. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it does ring a bell.
Anyway, I've been threatening to do it, but I keep on not doing it. So sorry about that. And that's pretty much it. How do you guys feel about this Zoom connection, this Zoom meeting? It's worked out okay, I think. What do you think?
Should do this every time. I like this.
Yep.
Right. Any suggestions how it should be different, or are we good?
I think it's good.
All
Yeah.
right.
I mean, so I sent those emails, Peter. I guess my question behind it was, my understanding was for this to be a public meeting, it has to be posted 2 weeks in advance
It was
with the URL
2 days in advance.
2 days in advance. Okay, so it's only 2 days, and the URL was posted 2 days.
No. The URL was posted today, but the meeting, the existence of the meeting, has to be posted
Right.
2 days in advance.
Yeah.
Details about it, you're supposed to post everything you possibly can and know 2 days or more in advance. But I couldn't get Margaret or the town to give me town Zoom. she's still working on it. So I was going to use my free account, but that's only 40 minutes long and it doesn't allow a phone call. So I borrowed my friend Chris's account that he purchased for social purposes. So he made me a host prior to the meeting starting. And thanks to Chris, who's not on, but thanks to Chris. So that's how this worked. And I had to wait the last minute because of that.
Okay, and Margaret knows that you did this, because the other board meetings that I've sat through just feel really different. They have a moderator and stuff like that. So I didn't know if that was a requirement for the board's meetings to have a
She
moderator.
100% knows about my process because I wrote it to you that I saw her yesterday in person. I asked the question. I said that, should I just use my own account? She said yes.
Okay.
And that was how that was. Now, what are you referring to moderator wise? What are you talking about?
I've just seen that there's either for ZBA, they have, I can't think of her name right now.
But Keith, it's somebody who's not on the ZBA. It's a
Yeah,
separate
and
entity.
Mary's been doing the Board of Selectmen meetings, right? And so it just feels different. And there's been training and more formal instructions on how to do everything. I'm perfectly fine with what we're doing here. I just wanted to make sure that it feels really different than the other boards, what they've been doing. So I'm just making sure that, we're on the up and up. That's all.
Guys, I think you're getting away from the individual businesses, and my wife is beckoning me. I am always around for Peter's ear, and to the other people, Jason, Paul, and others. Everybody seems to be can get my email from Peter, and I like being involved to the degree that I was tonight. And I do thank you guys for your board and your gung-ho and enthusiasm in helping businesses, small like the general store and large like Riverbridge. I think you're a great asset to the community. I want to let you finish up with your board stuff between the group, and I'm sure I'll get a summary from Peter. But I want to thank you guys for all the effort that you share and take time away from your businesses and your families.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
All right.
Good luck out
Thank
there.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Yep. We'll order more pizza from the cafe. We did last week.
For that too.
We did that last week. Yeah, intentionally to keep you guys in business.
I appreciate that, gentlemen.
You talked about it closing. Is that still on the table, or is it going to manage to stay open?
It's certainly on the table. It's not necessarily a business decision. If I think the virus gets too close, I'll pull the plug.
Got it.
I might open up 10 days later, but if it gets too close, I'll pull the plug, and I'll do it for my employees. They
Got
want
it.
to work, but at some point you got to override your own people. I'm
Right.
watching. Okay, guys.
All right.
Have a
Thanks,
great
Matt.
evening. Thank you all.
So long. So I want to circle back to two things. So Keith, are you comfortable? Let me disconnect. Okay, there, we won't go blind. So Keith, are you comfortable with our open meeting law situation? Because if you're not, I can look into it, but I'm quite confident that what we're doing here meets the spirit and the law, the spirit of the law and the law.
I trust you 100%. Just making sure. That's cool.
Anybody else? Jason, Paul?
I trust you as well. I mean, if you've been in touch with Margaret and she thinks this is fine, then I assume it's fine.
Yep.
All right. All right. So then the last thing is, how do you feel about sending a draft of our minutes to the select board so they can review the content?
Can't they review that? Well, we should finalize the minutes, I think. And I wouldn't send a draft. I would send final minutes.
But we can't do that till the next meeting.
Yeah. Well, maybe I won't have minutes ready until the next meeting. No, I don't think it would be wise to send draft minutes.
Well, you and I get it 99% there.
Well, how other folks feel?
I think if you say it's a draft and send it to them, I think it's fine.
Okay.
Jason?
I agree with that. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything.
The intent is the content, not the completeness. All right.
Well, at least it lets them know we're thinking about the global aspect of what's going on in the community. So,
Right. All right, so to the extent that Paul can feed it to me and I can feed it back and we can come up with a draft that we like, I'll share it with them. All right, good enough. So that leaves the last thing, next date. I think we'll still be Zooming in April and I hope we can meet in April. What
The
does?
calendar's a whole lot open now.
Third week of April, 3 weeks from now, do you guys mind?
works for me.
That's fine.
Yeah, what day do you want? Tuesday again, or?
I'm good with anything at this point. What I think Jason is the controlling factor here. He's got the real job.
I
Or
mean,
the
I would
important
say
job.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So
So
Tuesday the 21st?
Perfect. Let's do it.
Sure, I can make that work.
Is 6 p.m. good for you, Jason, or do you need a little later?
No, I mean, hopefully things will continue to calm down and 6 p.m. should be fine.
You're an optimistic man.
Well, people can only eat so much. And
Well,
the freezers,
Toilet paper, we're going for, buddy.
and the freezers are only so big. So.
Right. So I'll tell you a short story. Our freezer, which is ancient, broke a couple weeks ago. And we figured maybe we repair it, decided against it, figured just go to Lowe's, get another one. And Hudson Appliance, and they all laughed at me. It turns out that the people that are buying food are buying freezers too and stuffing their new freezers that they never had with all the food that Jason is selling. So getting a freezer was quite a project.
You got one? Good.
Yeah. A little appliance store in, not Sterling, but a town 5 or 10 towns away, small town, little hole-in-the-wall appliance store stuffed with appliances.
Did you try Percy's? Were
Yep.
they out?
They were out. Yep.
Wow.
Everyone was out. It was. I
That's
posted
crazy.
on Facebook. I got a lot of results, and I got pointed twice to Spencer, Mass. That's where it was. Little appliance store, and new in the box at a reasonable price.
We were down to our last roll of toilet paper. Thanks to Jason and his store, our bud is happy again. But
Thanks for sharing.
well, sorry.
Well, good. I think this has been productive, and I think our first Resume experiment worked.
Yep, I agree.
All right. Jason, can we put orders in now that you're slower and have you bring stuff home for us?
I might be able to work something out for you guys.
All right. Anything else? Anyone you want to move to close our meeting and adjourn it?
Sure, I'll move to close the meeting.
I'll second it. All opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Keith,
Yep,
All right, guys, thanks for taking the time. We'll see each other on the 21st of April at 6 p.m.
21st, yep.